Hello, Nick Jones here for the latest episode in the Sore Lower Back Stretch and Mobility series. This one today is going to be the shortest video. It's a little longer than I originally intended, but it's only going to be about 7 minutes. Please pause and read the disclaimer just to make sure this is definitely right for you. Apart from that, we're going to get straight into it. You're going to be hands and knees on your mat, and we're going to go for the first stretch. First up is going to be our angry cat. So we're going to go hands and knees, and what we're going to do is just pick that mid back up towards the ceiling and stretch the kind of middle of the back. Then as the stretch goes on, just slowly sink your hips back towards your heels. Pull your lower back now out at a 45-degree angle behind you, and you should feel it a little bit lower down. Kind of curl up, pull that lower back, big stretch in that back. Then we're going to reset and do that again. So back up to the top, pull your back straight up towards the ceiling to start with, then sink back towards the heels slowly, pulling that back out, and feel it lower and lower down the back. Next up, we're going to go to child's pose. Hands and knees again, feet together, knees apart, hands up nice and high and together, then sink back towards your heels and sit right back onto your heels. What you'll feel is you'll feel a nice stretch through the lats, the muscles underneath the sort of in the armpit kind of area. However, they also do cover about 80% of the back. So if you have tight lats, you're going to have a tight back everywhere else. You'll also feel a bit of a release in your lower back if it's particularly tight, and also a bit of a stretch through the hips. But remember, it doesn't exactly matter where you're feeling the stretch most, just wherever you're feeling the stretch most is where you're tightest. Just sink into it. Now, next stretch up, what you're going to do is to go onto your bum, cross your legs as if you're sat back at school in assembly, and then walk your hands out.
Let's go.
Then, if you can, try and drop your elbows down towards the floor. This is going to really stretch your hips and your lower back. You're going to be stretching everything that attaches to that SI joint from underneath it and above it. If you can't get your hands on the floor, don't worry, just use something to kind of maybe pull yourself forward a little bit and try and push those knees down. If your hips are tight, if your knees are really high in the air, your hips might be tight, it might be worth you checking out my hip stretch series as well. Often tight lower backs come in conjunction with tight hips. So it's a really good stretch for doing both. Okay, coming up in a sec, there's going to be a bit of a clunky transition in the video. So what you're going to do is pull one knee up towards your chest and then pull it over to one side towards the floor. Okay, this is going to give us our nice lower back stretch. This is the best lower back stretch out there in my opinion. I've had all kinds of tight lower backs come through my door, and this stretch really gets it for 90% of those people with bad backs. So you can either have both legs up like that, or you can take it a bit deeper by just doing one leg like this. Get it as near to the floor as you can, and relax the opposite shoulder back. Just get nice and deep into it and just relax. And we're going to go for 1.5 minutes on this one, a little bit longer as it's the best one. So kind of the first 3 stretches stretch more the kind of straight up and down muscles of the spine. You've got this muscle called the erector spinae, which are kind of the vertical muscles that run up and down either side of the spine. And then you've got the QLs, which are kind of the twisting muscles in your back. This is what we're doing on this stretch, is stretching more the QLs. But this is a common one that people injure because of kind of carrying heavy, awkward things, or gardening, lots of bending, twisting and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's a really good one to do. What we're going to do though, what we don't want to do is roll all the way out of this one because it's quite a deep stretch. So we're going to do a quad stretch facing the same direction first. So whichever way your knee's pointing, we're going to roll onto that side, face that way, hit a quad stretch lying on your side next, okay? Just to pre-warn you. Okay, so facing the same way as that knee's pointing, then heel to bum, get that heel right up to the bum, try and get that knee in line with the hip. So if you're to look down at your knee right now, is it in line with your hip? Can you get your hip out in front of that knee? If you can, that's going to give you a much deeper stretch. We're just going to hit it for 30 seconds, but quite often, tight lower back often equals tight hip flexors. Again, from jobs where you do a lot of, say, sitting down, either driving, office work, desk work, whatever. So it's a good one to stretch. I'm going to do the other side now, so one knee up to the chest, and then pull it over to the other side, flop over to that side, keep some pressure down on that leg as you then relax the opposite shoulder back. When you can kind of complete this stretch is when you can get your opposite shoulder on the floor and the opposite knee on the floor. And then if you can achieve that, likelihood is your back's going to be pretty loose. This is going to be our final stretch. So it's just a shorter routine today to hopefully give, just in case you don't have a huge amount of time coming home from work, but, you know, 7 minutes, 7-8 minutes. We should be able to fit this in, right? If you want to loosen off that lower back.
10 seconds.
If you've enjoyed any of these videos, I've got some longer ones as well if you do have a little bit more time in the evening. But apart from that, you can subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out a lot. Also like, share, comment. Will be hugely appreciated.
Let's go.
Also, like on that cross-legged one, if you did find you have the tight hips, you can check out the kind of hip stretch routines. Also do a lot of core training on here, a lot of abs, nutrition, weight loss, stuff like that. Again, mobility, one of the best things to help with your mobility is actually weight loss. It's, the more weight we're carrying, the kind of more pressure there is on the muscles and the stiffer they get. So apart from that, let's just see this through to the end. So we're just going to hit the quad stretch, so that whichever way the knee was facing, just pick up a heel, hit the quad stretch before rolling out of that deep stretch. Also on that previous point, the more weight, the more pressure on the joints, and the more likely those muscles are to tighten up around those joints to support the joints. A couple of other things like that. I won't go into too much detail on that. But yeah, if you're interested in any of that, check out some of the other videos. And right, that's a wrap. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.